In the wake of the news that the A's are going to play 3 years in a minor league ballpark in Sacramento, former Athletics pitcher Ron Darling, most famously a 1986 world champion with the Mets, said that he was, quote, appalled when the broadcast booth, he and Gary Cohen on Mets television, joked about seeing a new ballpark, quote unquote, next season for the A's. They were joking around about what a joke it is that that's a new ballpark for them to visit. But appalled has stuck with me because Ron Darling doesn't have hot takes. Ron Darling is a measured, thoughtful announcer for Major League Baseball, not only locally for the Mets, but nationally for TBS. And he used the word appalled. And why would you be appalled at what has happened to the Oakland Athletics? You'd be appalled not that a greedy, grubby owner has tried to lurch forward for more money. That happens quite often in Major League Baseball, and I'm sure Ron Darling's seen a lot of it. It's appalling because the man in charge of the perception, the management, the leadership of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, has allowed this to become so toxic. It's appalling because all of the guardrails that should be in place to prevent this from going this ugly have not been used. And that's on Rob Manfred. And so, yeah, it's appalling. Before I go into more of this, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel. Click on this button below me. I love doing videos like this because I get such a great feedback from you guys. We will continue to talk about the ridiculousness of the A's relocation and the blind greed and the con man that is John Fisher regularly. So make sure you click on the button below me to be alerted amongst the first to know when we do new videos and when we go live on Watch DA Live right here on this YouTube channel on Sunday nights at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 4 o'clock Pacific. I know, we all should know, that Rob Manfred is the secondary villain here because it's John Fisher who's the one that's leading this charge to Sacramento, to Las Vegas, to multiple sites, to doing favors for friends, to looking for favors from friends, and the like. The whole thing has been disgusting. But Manfred has to own so much of the blame here, which is why Ron Darling would call it appalling. The reason this is appalling is because the A's going to Sacramento and playing in a minor league ballpark in many ways seems like the best case scenario, as much of a joke as that is. Why? Because it's been so toxic and so dysfunctional for so long that this seems to be the cleanest way out. Now think about that. How did we get to a point where this is the cleanest way out to play 3 years of Major League Baseball in a minor league ballpark that's not even in the city you were desiring to go to? This isn't a minor league ballpark in Las Vegas. This is a minor league ballpark at a place that you cannot gain more fans from. So what are we even doing here? If we go back to the beginning, I think what you see is because Rob Manfred has been so asleep at the wheel, and because Manfred is taking marching orders from all of the other owners who don't want to get involved and don't want to be in the middle of another owner trying to get his bag, it has been allowed to fester into an absolute toxic mess. There's been 3, 4, 5 stages along the way where Manfred could step in and say, no, this needs to be done differently. But he hasn't. And that's why we're here today. We're playing in Sacramento at the home of the River Cats for 3 freaking years is a cleaner solution. Let's go back to the beginning. Has John Fisher ever truly negotiated or engaged in good faith conversations with the city of Oakland? I'm not here to say that I know the true intention of every council person or anybody that has a decision to make from the city side of things. I don't know. None of us do. But it has always appeared that John Fisher never truly wanted to stay in Oakland. And so any of those negotiations were really seen as just bleeding the clock, until there was no real movement and not enough time left and no other solution except to move to Las Vegas. Manfred, step one, could have stepped in and said, no, these negotiations have to be good faith, and if there's a solution to be had in Oakland, we must go there first and figure out a solution there first. Secondly, John Fisher, undoubtedly, this is not even an opinion or a conspiracy theory, this is the fact, has torn down the team to its studs to ensure a lack of interest in the squad. There has been no investment whatsoever in the team. No free agents have been signed. No players that have come through the Oakland A's organization have been retained. The payroll continues to be one of the smallest in baseball, if not the smallest in baseball. There is no intention to field a winning team. Thus, you're going to have empty seats, and it's going to look bad inside the Coliseum, a ballpark that really is a football stadium. Manfred and the owners can step in and say, no. You're not allowed to spend no money on any player. You have to put forth something, a somewhat tangible Major League Baseball roster. But no. And so the A's appear to just be a bunch of nobodies, a bunch of rookies, or non-desirables wearing a Major League Baseball uniform. Thirdly, the Coliseum is the Coliseum. Many decades of it being an afterthought for baseball, for bending over backwards to let Al Davis come back, building Mount Davis, which really ruined it as a baseball ballpark. And just the fact of the matter is, anything built back in the 60s is going to start crumbling if it's now the 2020s. Manfred also didn't try to influence any type of improvement to the Coliseum. It was seen as sunk cost, I suppose, or let's just let John figure it out. Well, again, you have the specter of a team that's a minor league baseball team playing in a ballpark that is a war zone. I mean, I give credit to any A's fan that somehow finds that embraceable or romantic. It is the single worst baseball experience from anybody watching on TV and most people going to the games in the game. And yet Manfred has allowed that to be the backdrop of the worst run franchise in the game. And so, yes, it looks like inevitably you would have to move because you couldn't keep playing there. If Vegas was truly the place where Major League Baseball had to go because the Vegas Golden Knights have been a roaring success and beautiful Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play is obviously a wonderful jewel for the NFL, the way to do this is to make sure John Fisher has a focused, smart, sophisticated plan to get into the Vegas market. Instead, John Fisher's throwing spaghetti against the wall and to see what sticks. Should we go there? How about there? How about this ballpark site? How about that ballpark site? He has been incredibly unfocused in where and how they are going to get a ballpark built in Las Vegas. Because of it, the Vegas market is now apathetic towards inheriting the A's. Again, if Rob Manfred would have made sure, John, you got to put together somewhat of a decent team. John, you got to put some money into the old Coliseum if you're still going to play there. And we need to put a good foot forward in Las Vegas so that the city here embraces them. Maybe this could be different, but instead Manfred has allowed everything to deteriorate under John Fisher's watch. Also, Fisher's been completely mysterious, cryptic, hidden. We haven't heard from John Fisher in 20 years. The guy hasn't done a public interview in 2 decades. So he doesn't spend any money on the team. He also doesn't spend any money on the Coliseum. He also does not negotiate in good faith for a new ballpark, wants to move the team, and won't explain anything about his decision-making. Rob, can you make John Fisher do an interview? And not an interview where he gets to cultivate the written statements. We need him on camera or at a press conference so that he's not such a hidden figure. But also Rob Manfred can help change, at least somewhere along the way he could have, the perception that this is just an always ragamuffin franchise that nobody cares about. The stats are the stats. Since moving to Oakland in 1968, this is a long time ago, the Oakland Athletics have the 6th best winning percentage in all of Major League Baseball. They are tied for the 4th most postseason appearances with 21. They are tied for the 2nd most World Series titles with 4. And it's not ancient history that they went to 3 World Series in a row, winning the pennant in 88, 89, and 90. And during that era, had some of the best attendances in all of baseball. It's not like A's fans never showed up. They showed up when the ballpark was still a baseball stadium and the team was actually invested in. But who's telling that story? That's Rob Manfred's story to tell. That's Major League Baseball's story to tell. And that's where this thing has gone so sideways. And it's why I'm so passionate about this, is that the national media has gone along with the narrative that John Fisher has tried to cultivate and Rob Manfred hasn't stopped, which is nobody cares around here and he can't play in that ballpark anymore. That's not true. It's not true. Everybody needs to wake up to this. Once upon a time, the A's were popular and filled the ballpark and won a lot. And it's not ancient history. It's not grainy old black and white footage. This isn't the Philadelphia A's or the St. Louis Browns. The Oakland A's in the 90s won a lot and filled the ballpark. And almost to a day since John Fisher bought the team, they have consistently crumbled along with the ballpark they play in. And here's A's fans from the life raft going, guys, we're drifting out to sea, and nobody listened. And now it looks like it's over. And all along the way, Rob Manfred could have stepped in and could have said, wait a second, this isn't right. And he never did. He never did. So Rob Manfred, you are also an accomplice in this great bank heist. John the Con got his way, but with an assist from the guy that should be out to protect Major League Baseball and instead did the exact opposite. I'm done fuming for now, but this is not the end. Appreciate you watching. Leave a comment below. Always love reading through what you guys think about these videos, the situations we're talking about. Click on this button right next to me to make sure you subscribe to the channel as we continue to follow this road to Sacramento, Vegas, and wherever it goes, because you know it ain't over. And I'm planning to come out to Oakland for an A's game in the Coliseum this season before all of this is wrapped up, because I got to be there. I'm DA, Damon Amendolara. Thanks for watching.